Alright. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome everyone to today's science class. So today we are gonna learn about understanding the sky. So yeah, today is gonna be all about the sky. So let's go to the next slide. It's about the objectives. Next slide. So here's the objectives. After listening to the teacher's explanation, students are able to comprehend stars constellation, the names of the stars, the sky and its motion, daily phenomenon, twilight, the seasons, and the moving planets. So before further ado, let's just to the point. So the first material is about the stars. So when we are talking about stars, what are stars? A star is a luminous ball of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, held together by its own gravity. Nuclear fusion's reaction in its core supports the stars against gravity and produce photons and heat, as well as small amounts of heavier elements. The sun is the closest star to the Earth. So as we know that the stars consist of hydrogen and helium, and inside the stars there is nuclear fusions, and for sometimes the star is gonna be more whiter than before because it's gonna be exploded. Why? Because in the stars there is no much nuclear fusion left because the helium and the hydrogen is already do the reaction. So in the meantime, the star is gonna be collapsed and it's called supernova. And then the next slide is about, yes, it's about constellations. So we are already talk about stars. So what is constellations? Constellations are a group of stars. So the constellations you can see at night depend on your location on Earth and the time of years. Constellations were named after objects, animals, and people long ago. As we know that constellations are so used for you when you are already uh, what give birth, and people say that your constellation is Virgo, Scorpio, or something like that. And actually, that's not the only constellation in our universe. For example, in this picture, there is Big Dipper. It's one of the constellation in our universe. And actually, there is 88 officially recognized constellation, and you can find it in the various source. So next, for the next slide, so the name of the stars, what does it mean, the name of the stars? So the name of the star is depend on how the brightness the star can be. And that brightness is depend on the how large, how massive, and how young or how the older this stars is. So the name of the stars, the brightest star is usually an alpha here in the PowerPoint. Uh, so for example, is Deneb. In the constellation Cygnus is Alpha Cygni, which is abbreviated as Alpha Sig. So it means Cygnus is the brightest in the Deneb. The second brightest star is Beta, and the next one is Gamma or Gamma. It's a Y, and so on. So that's the name of the stars. So next, the sidereal versus solar time. So what does it mean? As we know that in our Earth we are revolving, we are rotating. The rotating times, it's called 24 hours in our real life, is actually a solar times. What is sidereal? Sidereal Sidereal time is measured according to the position of the stars in the sky. A sidereal day is the time it takes for a particular star to travel around and reach same position in the sky. A sidereal day is slightly shorter than a mean day. Mean day is our time, lasting 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.1 seconds. And the solar times is the time it takes for the sun to return to the same meridian in the sky. So I will just take it in the middle. So sidereal, it is 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 41 seconds. It's the rotating of the Earth in 360 degree. But to take the Earth to facing the sun again, it's need more a degree or a 4 minutes to make it completely the rotating from the sun to the sun again. Why? Because as we know, we are revolving to the sun, and because we are revolving the sun is going to be farther away from the Earth, so we are going to need 4 more minutes to rotate the new day. So the actual day is going to be 24 hours. So for the next slide, we are going to talking about twilight. So twilight on Earth is the illumination of the lower atmosphere when the sun is not directly visible because it's below the horizon. Twilight is produced by sunlight scattering in the upper atmosphere, illuminating the lower atmosphere so that Earth's surface is neither completely lit nor completely dark. So to put it simply, twilight is happen in 6 p.m. around 6 p.m. when the sun is already sunset, but there is still so much light. It's gonna be this light is gonna be bright like orange to yellow lights in our sky. So that is twilight. The next slide is gonna be about the season. As we know that Earth's tilt axis causes the season. This tilt axis, as we know, is 23.5 degree. Throughout this year, different parts of Earth receive the sun's most direct rays. So when the North Pole tilts toward the sun, it's summer in the northern hemisphere. And when the South Pole tilts toward the sun, it's winter in the northern hemisphere. And there is a picture that gonna be explained about this northern and southern hemisphere and about the direct rays of the sun. So there is December here, March, June, and September. And because the seasons, next slide, the seasons is gonna different in each part of the Earth. Why? Because again, Earth is still 23.5 degree. Season result from the way that the Earth's pivot revolution is an opposite to the plane of its circle around the sun. However, shift by 23.5 degrees. So seasons depend on the intensity of solar radiation. So the northern summer coincides with a certain winter and vice versa. The figures below show season for the northern hemisphere. So each of the part of the Earth is gonna be have a different season. It's depend on the intensity ray of the sun. Next slide. And here's what planet configuration. A planet configuration just describes the location on the sky of a planet with respect to the sun at any particular time. So in this picture, we can see there is Earth. Right here is Earth. So the Earth is gonna be facing the sun in its south. So it's never gonna be happen. The north of the Earth gonna be face the sun. Why? Because the Earth is still 23.5, and the one is gonna be what visible to the sun is gonna be the south part of the Earth. So here is we're gonna see what it means eastern elongation, western elongation, and there is conjunction. Conjunction happen when the Earth and the inferior planets in our solar systems in a straight line. So it's Earth, and then there is a planet, and there is Sun, and it's depend on when and where is the planet is gonna be in line. So if the planet is gonna be in the middle of Earth and Sun, it's called inferior conjunction. And when it's gonna be a superior conjunction and the planet is the furthermost of the Earth and the Sun, and it's gonna be called conjunction when it is uh, when the conjunction happen is it's not the inferior planets but it's superior planets. What is superior planets? Superior planets is the planets that behind the Earth, not the for the forward from the Earth in the picture. That's it. And the last matter is gonna be retrograde motions. So what is retrograde motions? The planet infrequently appear to backtrack along their ways as demonstrated in figure below. So the planet is gonna be seen in our Earth from month to month in this motion. So there is like a straight line from the west to the east, but there is a loop here. Go to the east, and after from the east, it's gonna be from the east to the west again. It's gonna be like that for Mars. Why? It's actually not because the orbital of the Mars changing in our Earth, but the revolution of the Earth and Mars is different, and Earth is much more faster than the revolution of the Mars through the Sun, and that makes there is loop here, and that's also make why there is a point turn back in the right and the left sides. So it's actually all about it. Today is course. This is the end of today's course. We are gonna talk about understanding sky. Next slide, please. So after all of that, if you have any question before taking the quiz, you can contact me in the private. Why? Because we don't have much time. So that's all about today's class. Thank you very much for attending this class. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much,